Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, it's just popped up.
Great, we are live. So hello, and welcome to what I'm calling Live Life Live. So a live opportunity for you to meet three amazing women who I journeyed with from June last year, June 2022 to December 2022. And what I thought I would do in order to, I guess, more clearly express what Elevate is all about, I thought I'd ask the people who have actually been involved with Elevate and been part of Elevate so that you can hear their story, really. Just to say, if you're watching live, hello. I will try, I haven't got my mobile phone with me for some reason. I probably won't be able to keep going with the comments, but I will follow comments afterwards. If you've got any questions, please do let me know. I will try to check in on the comments and see if we could answer them once we've done the kind of questions within the group. So I've got a number of questions to ask, and we will hear from the lovely Abby, Claire and Susie about their stories, but I'll let them share their story rather than me waffling on. So my first question is, why did you join Elevate? So Abby, do you want to kick off?
Oh, okay. Well, firstly, I'd done the leadership reset first, and felt that had laid a really good foundation that I wanted to continue with. But I do also remember thinking it was so busy at work at the time, and I just thought, I've got time for any of this. And then suddenly had a bit of a moment when I thought, do you know what, actually this is the time is while it's all hysterical, I don't know whether I'm coming or going, and actually do it. So I quite shocked myself into going, right, no, I'm going to do it, got it approved, done. So I really felt that it was a way to just kind of embed what had started and really kind of work through that a little slower and with a bit more time to reflect. So yeah, and I suppose deep down inside, you know, there's more that you could be doing. There's more of you to take. So digging for that, really. So that was my thoughts and why I came.
Thank you, Abby. And Claire, why did you join Elevate?
So similar to Abby, we'd done leadership reset together, and I'd got some answers, but I hadn't quite got to the crux of where I needed to be. And Elevate felt like a deeper dive and more sort of reflective, and absolutely for me felt like the right time to begin to explore these things, which for me resulted in quite a lot of change. So it was quite a clear journey, but I needed the program to kind of guide me through it. Yes, that's me.
Thank you, Claire. And Susie, why did you join Elevate?
Well, I think unlike some of my other friends on Elevate, I actually found Emily through LinkedIn. So somebody had very serendipitously links Emily in so that she popped up on my feed, and there was just such a resonance for me when I first met Emily. And I don't think I knew I needed Elevate, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, that just feels like a really good fit. It feels like I suddenly realized how stuck I was. And kind of, because I work on my own as an author illustrator, and you don't have a boss, you don't have a coach, you don't have anybody who's like, how's the deadline going, who checks in on a weekly basis, or you know, kind of helps you to aspire to your goals and aspirations. I just had none of that, and it was a bit of a, I was working really, really hard, and I think just totally plateauing. So meeting Emily, I think she just visualized something that really connected with a part of me that was feeling quite lost and very alone and isolated and kind of left behind. And I think it just didn't seem to matter how hard I was trying to get back into the saddle. So I was doing lots and lots of research and kind of, you know, reading into what I felt I should be doing next, but I just could not get back into the saddle in terms of really taking control of my future, reshaping the way I presented myself into the world. And I think it just felt so right. Meeting Emily, I just knew that this person was going to help me take those next vital steps I needed to actually connect my gift into the world again. So really it was just massively finding connection, massively being given the courage to get back in the saddle, and then finding friends who were with me on the journey, and we're still together, and that's just a deepening friendship, which is really delightful.
Thank you, Susie. I'm hearing that connection piece. I'm hearing that going deeper. Abby, I love what you said, that you didn't, you sort of, someone said they didn't know, was it Susie said they didn't know that they needed it until they saw it. And there's the sort of support and accountability to navigate a change, which Claire did. So I feel like, the three of you each had kind of different entry points, and very different journeys, but I just love witnessing that connection as well between you. So my next question is, what were the group sessions like, and sort of just how did you generally find the experience? Just if people are going, oh, I don't know whether I want to jump into a Zoom call each week with a bunch of other women, I might feel that sense of competition, that sense of, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not moving fast enough. How was overall the experience of being part of a small cohort of women journeying together for 6 months for you, Abby?
Well, I thought it was, personally, thought it was fabulous. I think one of the other things that made me think that this was the right place to be was just about that idea of sharing emotion, and actually how much your emotions and underneath it all are affecting the way you perform and what you do. And actually making that, it seems really obvious, but just making that connection, because you think you leave that at home when it's work, but actually it's with you all the time. So, and I felt that that in those sharing sessions, it was great, because often what other people were bringing in the way of challenges were often things that resonated with all of us. And sometimes it was something that you hadn't brought, but actually was there somewhere. So you got something from whatever anyone was sharing. It was never, I'm sitting here listening and I don't know what this is and I can't relate to it. It was, for me anyway, it was always relatable. And then in your own sharing, you also got great feedback from that kind of external view, because even though it's Zoom, it's still connections, it's still connecting, and you can still see and feel and get a sense of what feedback you can give. So I'm not sure I articulated that very well, but I never heard anything or received anything that I couldn't work with, that I couldn't think, oh, do you know what, I didn't realise that, or that's a good point, I can work on that. So for me, spending time with it, and I think the different backgrounds and the different places that we all come from, and the different entry points as far as while we're at the group, have no effect on how we connected with each other and what we could support each other with, and listening to those challenges and those things that were coming up for each other. It was I think it was universal in the group for me. So yes, great, and I recommend it.
Thank you. And Claire?
For me, it was a favourite time of my week. Like, we used to have weekly meetings and we would look forward to it. And what was nice is that we journeyed together, because some weeks you've got a really big issue and you were like, me, talk to me, friends. And other times you wouldn't, and you'd be listening. And it was a really nice ebb and flow. And I think it's really contributed to our relationship that we journeyed together in that. For me, it was the accountability. Like, as my life changed, these people that I've never physically met, I've got to tell them, like, I can't wait to share X, Y, and Z. And it became a real accountability group in a way that I couldn't have anywhere else. It was very sort of open, non-judgmental, but it's also a great place to articulate. And this was the reflection that actually you had these thoughts, you've got the videos that you work through and the handouts, but actually for me, I need to articulate it, and we were able to articulate it in a way and then discuss that. You know, as you know, I've had one of probably my life's greatest challenges within this group from one of the other participants who were like, why are you doing that? What's this? It was like, wow, like that was such a powerful moment for me. Again, happening on Zoom, and can sort of we've continued that journey. So for me, it's that accountability and that chance to really articulate where we're at.
Thank you, Claire. And I've loved witnessing, seeing. I've loved witnessing. That's the same as seeing. As a group, the women stepping up and leading others within the group. That it's my role is to hold the space, and then seeing the insight and the wisdom among the group is just so powerful. It's not kind of we look to Emily who has all the answers. We look to each other for challenge and so on. So thank you, Claire.
Which is why I like the length of the program, because we all then enabled to do that, because some weeks you would, some weeks you couldn't, and that's also really good as well, really powerful. And actually, sorry to jump into, I suppose, the next stage, but we've continued that, and that's changing each time again. So it's it's interesting.
It's wonderful. Thank you. And Susie.
Well, it's actually really interesting listening to Abby and Claire. They have just so brilliantly expressed what it's like, and the collaboration and the progress. I think what I want to talk about is what it's like feeling like such an outsider. So I am not in full-time work employment. All of the other women were. I wasn't in regular contact with people. All the other women were. There's something about the way Emily held the space that enabled me to connect in with where I was similar. Just that I think the things that I identified in my friends, or the women that I was working with, all of us want to grow. All of us want to succeed. All of us are not content to remain in the spaces that we're in when we know that there's more. And I think, I've got to be honest, I think when I first joined it, I was terrified, because I've never, ever been in this situation where people are asking genuine questions. They're genuinely digging deep into frustration, disappointment, stuckness. I found that I came into the group carrying quite a lot of trauma for some really big things. And even though my mentee having that conversation, I think it's important that I say to anybody thinking about the course that it really is a safe place to bring your superpower, but also your deepest insecurity and vulnerability. And what a testimony to come out of that, knowing that these women are all my friends. And I've been able to lay myself bare and also creatively make myself vulnerable and just feel so held in that space. And still be on a journey where I feel like I now have friends who hold similar values in life. And I actually feel quite emotional talking about it, because if there's anyone out there that doesn't have those strong work connections and work in isolation like I do, I cannot recommend highly enough the quality of the people that Emily is bringing to this group, and how that will sustain, encourage and inspire you to dig deeper into all that you are, not just what you've been told you can do, but all of you.
Thank you, Susie. I'm feeling quite emotional.
I'm going to send us off now.
I know. Because generally I didn't know what everyone would say. I haven't scripted everyone, just if anyone's watching. Although we met in real life in March at a real life retreat that I ran, just to say this group have continued to meet together without me, where I get massive FOMO, but also just so empowered that they have that relationship and that
Welcome back anytime, Emily.
Sorry?
You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. So my next question, so thank you everyone. What was your biggest breakthrough moment? Just one, like I'm sure you've got hundreds, but you know, one big breakthrough moment that you want to share.
Do you know what I thought? For me, I don't even know when it happened, but I know, I can't remember when. I'm really bad with timelines, but when I was reflecting on it this morning, I was just thinking it was that moment when I just realised how much I second guessed myself. And I don't know when that happened, or because there's lots of sort of stuff around boundaries and saying no and all of that, and I know that's there, but that, I think fundamentally even beneath that is that second guessing, which is when then the procrastination and stuff, but all of those things come in, and it was just that's again, I suppose it was that taking it just that little step deeper, and maybe there's undoubtedly something underneath that, but I really thought I didn't realise just quite how much I do that, and then that just slows down your day, what you do, stops you from doing things, or stops me from doing things, and yeah, and that came back, and that came out in when I think about feedback I got about probably involving myself in things, layers and detail that I didn't need to, and being more strategic and kind of stepping up and stepping into that area of the work that I do, whatever I do or whatever I decide to do, that I think came up a few times, and that for me was the one thing that I kind of thought, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I think I do it a little less now, but that it took me a minute to remember that, but yes, I think that for me, and I think that probably came up quite, other things came up, but that came up maybe quite later on in our conversations and our groups, and it was a bit of a, oh yeah, I do that, and then I can you start watching yourself doing it. It's like, oh my god, I'm doing it again. So, and letting that go a little bit, trusting, I suppose it's self-trust, and then trusting others, and you know, that we did talk about that, didn't we? One of our workbooks was about trust and self-trust, and trusting others and trusting ourselves to trust others as well. So yeah, that was
yeah, you can't trust others until you trust yourself. Yeah. But often it's interesting, Abby, that revelation, like you said, that came later on, and probably I think the trust thing was fairly early on, and I think it's kind of the head to the heart, and that's why it is 6 months, because it takes a while for oh yes that moment to happen. Yeah.
So and that has, I think, even though I didn't, maybe not, I don't say I forgot, but it's, you know, it's something that I just keep just bubbling underneath, and I'm kind of working through that, and I just listened to, was it Playing It Big? Was it Playing It Big?
Playing Big by Tara Moore.
Yeah, listening to that, and that fed into that as well. It was quite exciting. So yeah, that's my breakthrough.
Thank you, Abby. And Claire?
Two sort of main ones stick out. There was the whole procrastination stages. We were like, oh, procrastinate. And then we did an exercise on the stages. It was like, wow, okay, I've really been at that stage for a long time. How do you sort of move forward? And also there was an exercise about, do you live in the present or are you living in the future? And that really opened my eyes up to my thinking that isn't always where it should be or where I needed it to be. So they were sort of two of the main exercises. But something that I'm really working on at the moment is just those, where do you get your energy from? Like, what energizes you? And really trying to sort of be mindful of that in a way that I think previously you just aren't noticing. So it's just given me that, as Abby said, oh, I'm recognizing it in myself now, that actually, am I procrastinating? Am I thinking now? Am I thinking the future? Or this is energizing me, and noting it down and being, recognizing it, I think was my biggest breakthrough.
Thank you, Claire. So that increased self-awareness is just so powerful, isn't it? It's wonderful. Thank you. And Susie?
I'm having a classic elevate moment. I'm like, I have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth.
Okay.
So the one of my
it's in the processing.
yeah. So I think one of my most significant moments, funnily enough, came really early on for me, and I think oh, the dog. Sorry, that was so inevitable. So basically I had this sudden moment of realization that big feet need big shoes. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I was so
Showing the drawing, that was so good.
yeah,
I loved it.
I really honestly believe it's one of the ugliest pictures I've ever done in my life.
Love it.
But I was so like, oh, I'm so much bigger than the space I'm in. And I think and it was to do with, I've just looked at some of my sketching actually from my Elevate notes, and it was a realization that I am the best version of myself when I speak with authority. And I think the truth is I'd never been able to say that anywhere else. And it was just that realization that my feet were hurting. And then I think the whole course really was a process of taking my feet out of the old shoes, untying the laces, and massaging a bit of salve into my feet, thinking about what I need in terms of going forward, getting equipped, what kind of shoes do I need? I'm definitely not a dainty shoe lady. They're big boots. And I think that the tools I was given have helped me to recognize that I need to change my shoes, and really have the tools and the equipment and the space that I needed to think about what that was going to look like going forward. And actually the Elevate groundwork that I did and the friends that I found was so amazing, and I needed more. And the good news is Emily has other courses that she's running after each other, and I've been able to do further work in the next program that I feel like I've got my boots strapped on now, and I'm really kicking down some walls that I had so much work to do, I think. But it was that sort of sense of just coming into a space, having the tools and the material, the processing power to unpack all the stuff. Nobody had ever sat me down and said, "You've got blisters, Susie. You clearly are in pain. You clearly can't go any further in the shoes you're wearing." Nobody had said that to me. And I'm feeling emotional again because it was walking into Emily's tools, and the space that she provided was literally like coming home and taking off my boots and realizing that somebody was going to help me make a pair of shoes that were perfectly crafted. I've got a bit of a handmade shoe crush, actually, which I think is coming out what I'm saying. But maybe it's because I am a bit of a weirdo, I think. Like, I'm really creative and I just see the world in, not in straight lines, and it's been hard. And I think one of the things that I found difficult at first was meeting all these incredibly what appeared to be got together women in jobs, and they were turning up, they were doing like 9 to 5, and I need handcrafted shoes, and I have genuinely found the tools from that moment of revelation to kind of think about what that's going to look like.
Thank you. And Susie, we loved so after not every session, but regularly we'd have a different illustration to visualize the learning or the step. So my next question was, what made Elevate unique? And I don't know whether is it helpful for me to sum it up or not, but I feel like some things are coming up around, like I provide some tools, they, just so people know, and they're on an online modules, and we talk once a month, also roughly every 3 weeks through those in more detail. And the truth is some people come to the program and I think they're like, oh, I haven't watched the video yet, or I haven't done the task, because we're so sort of focused and honed down on, I do a training program and then I get a little certificate at the end, and then I've done that, I am now a manager at level 3. And my intention, partly because I didn't really like education, but partly because my desire is to hold the space for you when you join the group, and my desire is for people to be freed from the shackles of the structure of the education system, which still is actually forced upon us, in later life as well, and that there are no, prizes for ticking all the boxes. But also what I'm hearing is that completely unique journey and the completely unique revelations that people have when they are given the space and the accountability and that safety, I suppose, to share of themselves. And that can be emotional. That you might choose not to be emotional. There's no like right or wrong or prescribed way to show up, really. And for me, that's what makes it unique, is the space and the space to journey with people over a 6-month period. And sometimes, certainly in my January 2022 cohort, people had some big life stuff that happened, and maybe they dropped out for a month and dropped back in, but we were always there for them. I had some big life stuff across the whole of last year, I don't overburden you with my problems, but I am just honest and I show up as myself as well, which hopefully that facilitates you. So any reflections on what makes Elevate unique, above and beyond what I've just shared?
Oh, I think that held space, and the fact that kind of anything goes. You're there in a space that definitely feels safe, that they're sharing it, and it's not just about work, it's about life, because that work is part of life rather than the other way around. So whatever it's bringing, you bring that, because it has an impact on everything that you do. So I think from that, for me, as far as doing something that's about leading or stepping into your bigger self and your bigger shoes or boots or whatever, you've decided to, however that looks, or into the trust of yourself, you're allowed to bring whatever works for you. So that, I think, makes it very unique. I don't think I've had anything like this before, or unlikely, I don't think, for it to be anything like this anywhere else. So yeah, for me, definitely bring it all.
Thank you, Abby. Claire?
This absolutely the space that you created, Emily, and just bringing us together. Like, we wouldn't have met, or some of us certainly would never have sort of crossed paths, and that has absolutely been an absolute joy. I think it is investing in yourself. Like, we don't do it, we know that, and the conversations that happen, we're just on the treadmill, and this is a space to really invest in yourself, and really grow from it and decide sort of whatever direction you want to go in. And I think that is unique, the way that it's done. Like Emily said, there's things to do, there's homework to do, should you wish to do it, there's no judgment, but actually the conversations and the connection that you bring together is absolutely unique. So yeah, for me it's and for all of us, it was hard at the beginning. You look at the journeys we've been on, giving yourself permission to do that and really open up is hard, which
Oh.
is why it's the journey, and which is why I'm so grateful it continues, because these things also happen over time as you build that connection. But it's been a really nice organic process as well. Yes.
Thank you, Claire. Susie.
Yeah, I think the fact that I've never been in a space like this, you know, obviously it's completely unique. I think probably one of the traumas is being in spaces where my voice isn't trusted or respected because I'm a female, and I just think, and in a very, I don't know, it's hard to explain it, but I think, you know, when you've been told all your life that women have no value, and then suddenly you're in a space where women are dignified, strong, kind, vulnerable, talented, powerful. It's so simple, and it's so refreshing, and there's nothing forced or aggressive. It's just right. It just feels right, and I'm just so grateful for the kindness. I think I've been so impressed with the way Emily holds space, like Abby and Claire have expressed. She gave us the room to mentor each other, and I thought that was extraordinary because I then only ever really experienced top-down input. So from starting the course, being afraid to hear my own voice, let alone allow myself to contribute into the lives of others, was just so great, so terrifying to start with, but then just so liberating. Yeah, and then yeah, I mean, that for me, you know, I could go on really, but I think I'll stop there. That uniqueness for me, because all of those, you know, all of those things have had to surface in my you know, in my life and my work in order to become fully actualized, I think. So I'm just so grateful for that space.
Thank you, Susie. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop out. I'm just going to grab my mobile because I can't seem to get the feed on Facebook on my laptop, just to see if anyone is asking any questions. So if you are watching live, if you've got any burning questions that you want to ask Susie, Abby or Claire, please do pop those in the chat now. And then I'll give Abby, Claire and Susie just a final question for them to think on in terms of what's the transformation or the change you see in yourself 6 months on from finishing the programme, and then we'll just round up with kind of a sort of anything else that people want to say. So give me 2 minutes, just hold the space. Feel free to chat among whether or share anything you want to share while I'm just out of the room, because I can't for the life of me think where my phone is. But I'll be back.
Well, for a start, Emily is usually way more organised than that.
It's all very organic. It's good. That's a really good question. I don't think we've reflected on that one as much. Like,
oh, I was doing that
program.
today, yeah, thinking, I'm realising that it's almost to the day.
Is
So
it?
I think we had
yeah,
our
it
welcome
really is.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah, 17th or 19th or something of June. Because I was looking back in my calendar thinking, what's happened? Is there anything going to remind me what's happened? And so I thought, oh my God, it's an anniversary just
That's
coming
right.
up the next day or so, which was quite nice. But yeah, I think, no, I was just, trying to work out because that's a thing, isn't it? You don't realise where you come from.
Yeah.
You're just kind of always looking ahead and thinking, I haven't done this still, I haven't done that still. And looking back, I think I found, what how do I feel different? I think I feel different in the sense of feeling a little bit more trusting of myself and trusting of others and delegating and organising and saying and speaking up. It doesn't go down well sometimes, but at least in my head, I watch people's faces as I start to say things. I think, okay, maybe that wasn't what people wanted to hear. I've actually started journaling again because I thought that just I found. Oh no, thank you.
Yes,
'Cause
I'm
you
a
know, I
fan
found
of
that really
journaling.
hard. I found that really hard. And I've got the questions on a thing on the wall to remind myself every day. I don't do it every day, quite. I do it some days, and sometimes my reflection happens the next day. But I remember how that really calmed and focused me and really helped me feel better in about my day. So I've definitely returned to doing that, and it works because it just sort of gets me centered on what is it that I want to achieve, how do I want to be, and what am I grateful for, and what do, and that is often about what's around you and what's happening around you, which reminds you that things are actually okay. And so I think in that sense it feels calming, and I feel more confident, and I can tap into those tools if I need them. And I think that's reminded me that there are some things that actually I want to return to, and I think that's where you then really get a sense of what's changed, or I say what's changed, how you've grown. And I still second guess myself quite, a bit, but I don't feel that I do it quite as much. And actually, I notice when I'm doing it. So then it's about why am I doing it? What am I not comfortable about? So I can kind of reflect on that, and then think about that. But most of the time, life is really strange because things that I'm thinking about or starting or just start coming. So I'm supposed to contact somebody one day, and it just kept moving for one over, and then I turned up a meeting and they were there. I was like, oh, you're here. And he went, I know what you want to say. I know. Do you? It was like, I've sorted it. I'll email you. I was like, I like it. I like it when you barely have to do anything and then things just start happening. So yeah, feeling a little bit more in flow and a little less. And if I do get stuck, I can tap into a tool or do a bit more journaling, and my journaling's very, very short. But just pick that up and use that to kind of get the flow going again. So yeah.
Thank you, Abby. I love the way that you use the word flow, the idea that actually, you've got all the tools, and you might get stuck. We all get imposter feelings, or we all, all those things still come up. It's just it's the things become smoother. And actually, life is working for you. Sometimes you need to do less and more happens. That's
I think that's the how do I want to be, or how do I want to be today?
Not what do I want to do.
Opens all of that stuff up for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Claire, what's the transformation now, a year on?
Gosh, I feel in a way totally different. Just new job, new challenges, which was part of my reason I wanted the challenge. Well, I certainly have the challenge that's created more challenges, but it is what I wanted. I think I've got a lot of my energy back from some of the decisions that I've made, which I really like. I definitely feel a lot more energized, which is great. There's the thing is, I think it's an ongoing piece of work as well. And actually, this has reminded me to go back to some of the tools, right? What do I need for the next stage? Because it isn't just this is an ongoing process. But for me, it is my biggest sort of transformation is investing in me. I'm not a great journaler or a drawer, but actually giving me the space just to connect and talk and think about has really just given me some headspace that I really like. And I really like, the connection, the accountability, but also the WhatsApp group. We share things still. There's kind of new ideas. So I think that's my transformation. I feel really different. Actually.
Amazing, Claire. It's wonderful. And Susie.
Yeah, kind of riffing off Abby and Claire. I think I feel like definitely more connected. Definitely more connected, and that is transformational. That's given me the sense of belonging that I've found within the group, has given me the courage to walk away from toxic spaces. I mean, that in itself is just huge, isn't it? No, I could just stop there and just go, that's amazing. And even though it's small, I think
You just said it's huge, Susie. Let's just leave it.
yeah, it's huge. But what I also wanted to say was my life is simpler. So I think there was a lot of clag in terms of like information and research and really trying hard. And I think when you finally meet yourself and you realize what your gifts are, it does, and your calling, do your vacation, whatever, I think it makes life a lot simpler. And just paring back all the crap that had sort of cluttered my thinking, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm exhausted as well. I'm just like I'm just I think I've realized I just need to really give myself time now. And then there's all the language that Emily's kind of helped us with in terms of that. So she dropped some stuff this week about heart, mind, body, and heart, mind, body, and spirit. And yeah, so I am listening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I totally need to listen to my body, because my body is, going, it's had trauma responses and stuff. And so, I'm just, like Abby said, we've got those tools and we're able to put them to work and really, really kind of like make sure there's balance across every area of our lives. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I really, really appreciate just you sharing so openly about your journey. I have checked Facebook, and I did hear you, Susie. Sometimes I slip up. Sometimes.
You need it not to be perfect, Emily.
Exactly.
Yes, that is good. I did used to strive to be perfect, but
don't do that.
Perfect isn't be present, not perfect. Although I had to be not present in order to. Anyway, there are no questions on Facebook, but if people do have questions, please do just pop them in the feed, and I can either come in on another live or comment. Lastly, last question: if there are people who are watching this live who are sitting on the fence and not sure, in kind of one sentence, what would you say to that person?
Just do it.
Just do it, says Susie.
I think, just do it. You can't really lose, because you can take whatever you want from it or not. It's so that which makes it so easy. So to just do it.
Invest in yourself. Like it's really, it really does help and gives you clarity. So if you're thinking about it, then you probably should do it, because you need to invest in yourself. Emily didn't pay me to say that, but if the thoughts there,
none of them have been paid any money. Invest in yourself. And if you do have an organization where you feel confident to ask for investment, but equally it's try to make it as accessible as possible for that investment for you, both invested financially but also that time. And I think that's the thing, is we believe that if we just work a little bit harder, just keep our head down, this period of stress or whatever will be over. But like what you've heard, life gets busier and busier, and you basically do the absolute opposite of what actually needs to happen. And what needs to happen is you need to invest time in yourself, time to connect with some amazing people. I've already got 4 amazing women who've signed up to Elevate. So I'm very, very excited to see the next group forming. So if you've got any questions, I'm not speaking to you, I find it odd speaking, I'm not speaking to you three, I'm speaking to the others, the rest of my Lead Your Way group. Please do ask. If you're sitting on the fence, just do it and invest in yourselves. The early bird deadline is 5 p.m. on Friday. I've got quite a few live inquiries coming through, so please don't delay, because I won't take more than 9 people on the programme because of everything that these ladies have said. I need the group to be of a size where we can connect and build relationships with each other. So please don't miss out. I won't be running this programme again until January 2024. So lastly, just to say thank you, Susie, thank you, Abby, thank you, Claire. It's just been a privilege to walk alongside you over the past 6 months, but also the past year in different ways. Yeah, thank you. Right, I'm going to stop the Facebook Live.